Warning, the following podcast is brought to you by dads who are still searching for the remote control. Welcome to the All Pro Dad Podcast.
Hey, welcome to the All Pro Dad Podcast. My name is Ted Lowe, father of four, and I'm joined today by BJ Foster.
Hey, Ted.
With two kids. That takes some effort.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but good for you.
Yeah, that's not a negative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, two kids. Good job.
You're not better than me. I just want you to know that.
Yeah.
You're not better than me.
Yeah. No, having four has made me a worse dad than having two. Like, I've wondered that before. Anyway, Bobby, welcome, father of three. Maybe he's like the Goldilocks of dads.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
Right in the middle. He's the middle child.
You're the middle
fathers.
child?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to ask you guys, we got a special episode today talking about some very important things. So let me just start with this. Yeah. How long have you guys been married?
19 years.
15.
Almost 30.
Nice. Very good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So old.
You are.
How long?
Wise is the word I use. Yeah. Wise.
There we go. See, you agreed with old and you said wise.
Well, you got married when you were 11. So.
Oh, there it is right there. Well, I did grow up in Alabama. So how long have you guys been dads?
Yeah. Over 16 years.
My oldest is 14.
25 years.
Nice.
My oldest one's 25 teaching school. So, I'm wrapping it up, friends. I'm wrapping it up. I've got him off the payroll, so that's pretty exciting. For you guys, is there ever any conflict?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. And it depends. It's different for kid to kid. When we're talking about my younger two, the conflict is just they want to hang out with me right when I get home from work. They want to play. They want to do all these games. I'm like, oh, I got to make dinner and help my wife and all that. And then my older daughter, she wants to talk to me like 5 minutes before I'm going to bed. Like, my wife and I want to hang out. All the little kids are asleep and we want to spend time. And now the older child is like, now it's my time. And so there's conflict all the time. I want to hang out with my wife, but my kids also want me too. And there's just butting of heads there sometimes. So I got a testimonial from a dad recently that really brings this whole conversation into one concise point. I want to read the email he sent me. He says this: for the longest time, I thought being a good husband was being a good dad, but they're totally separate. And as weird as it sounds, it's easier for me to be a good dad. Engaging with my wife, much tougher. Honestly, most of my family issues are because I'm out of position as a husband. And I thought this is very interesting. This guy, like many other dads, very busy. We've got duties as husbands, but we've got duties as dads as well. And those things sometimes do come into conflict, and we can't outrun that as men.
Well, that leads perfectly into our big question of the week, and that's, how do we juggle our duties as a husband and our dad duties?
So I think a great place to start with this is breaking down, okay, what are our duties as a father and what are our duties as a husband?
And the email said, hey, they're totally separate. Mm-hmm. I'm going to disagree with that. And I think that can be actually helpful when you think about it, that when we are doing life well with our wives, they feel that connection. They feel that support. We do better as a couple. We parent better together when we're doing better together. The other thing I think we've got to think through is not living in child-centered homes, because when we have child-centered homes, we raise self-centered kids, right? When everything's revolving around them, I always think that puts a lot of pressure on a kid too. Like, my schedule is running everything. It's about me. It's like, and watching mom and dad not connect, it's really scary for a kid. Like, what's going on? One of the most convicting things I heard from someone once is, your kids are going to have your marriage because of what they've seen. The question is that a good thing right now? Is that a good thing? And that's not, I don't want that to be guilt-inducing, but it is reality.
Yeah, in preparation for this particular episode, I did a Google search and I just typed in, how do I split time with my wife and my kids? Very generic search. And the results were all over the place. A lot of work-life balance, because dads are searching for that. We've actually done an episode on that with Hall of Famer Tony Dungy and Mark Merrill, and they talked about work-life balance. I think it was episode 30. We'll put that link in the show notes. Great conversation. A lot of Google results with that, but also a lot of results for single dads or divorced dads. How do I split time? Not a lot of answers for dads who just want to do this well in their home. How do I divide time between my spouse? How do I divide time between my kids? And it's a very important thing to do. A lot of results for moms, I found. Not very many results for dads, but we spend more time at home most of our lives than we do at work. And so if we're just thinking about splitting time between work and home, That's not enough. We got to figure out how to split our time in our home and do it well, because those duties for dad and duties for husband aren't going away. They're going to exist as long as your kids are in your home, and then even after that sometimes.
Well, the hard part is we have a finite amount of time, and the demand for our time is more intense now than it'll ever be in our entire lives, because we have these little ones that are vying for our time, and we have, obviously our wives are vying for our times. So how do we break that up? How do we split that up and do it well?
I think the thing we've got to keep remembering, and it can be so easy to forget in the pace of life, is that our wives are a gift.
Oh, yes.
I often say, we have what a lot of single people are praying and searching for diligently. I want to do life with one other person. So when we think about our wives as gifts, that helps us to honor her, right? I never ever want to forget the day where I promised my wife in front of her family and her friends, her mom and her dad and her siblings, that you can trust me with her heart and her life. Mm-hmm. And if she's going to know grace, if she's going to know care, if she's going to know someone who adores her, who laughs with her, it's going to be because I choose to give it to her. We have so much choice in marriage. That's why I love working with married couples. Go, hey, a lot of drama we can't fix, but we've got a lot of choices when it comes to how we treat our wife. Point number 2 is we've got to remember that our kids are also a gift.
Absolutely.
And some days they're not feeling like a gift, are they? They are feeling like nothing but a hard time and a whole lot of responsibility. But I think it's so helpful for us to pull back at 30,000 feet and say, wow, look how they're wired so differently. Look who they are. And even on days they're difficult, say, wow, you're becoming human. Isn't this amazing that I have the gift, that you're the gift in my home? I think that's important. And I think dads, I want to say, somebody told me this really early on, is you are the perfect dad to raise your kid. You may not feel it, but you are the perfect dad to raise your kid. The other thing I think we've got to remember, point number 3, is to acknowledge that there will be tension with your kids as long as they live at home. There's going to be tension. And I think with kids, it's important to remember that they're not a problem to be solved, but they're a tension to be managed. And you're not always going to do it perfectly. But I just think say, hey, we're all living in the tension, and the tension is not a problem we've got to solve. It's something we need to manage.
I think then we move on to kind of, okay, here's the tension. Now what do we do about it? And so I think number 1 in terms of action steps is know your duties.
Right. Succeeding at your marriage is so good for your kids. You become like an emotional safe house. By seeing a great marriage, what they're doing, they're learning how to communicate. Again, they're watching. This is how it's done. This is how adults do this. They're watching us resolve conflicts. Mm-hmm. They're watching us hopefully show respect. And hopefully, most of all, they're seeing that we love each other unconditionally. And that's seen, for those of you who are married dads, they're seeing a lot about what they're going to grow up and how they're going to relate to their wives and to their husbands.
Action step 2 is avoid distractions, both as a dad and a husband.
It's good.
Yeah. I would love to break up with my TV. I would love to. I mean,
I'm glad you said TV.
This was about to go a totally different direction. No, I really like TV. I enjoy some shows. We, as a family, watch shows together. We'll watch sporting events together. We watch movies, and that's great. But I really want to break up with my TV because it is a distraction. And I have really enjoyed Tuesday nights lately at home. My wife sings in our church choir. And so Tuesday night she has practice. She goes up to the church. That gives me a 90-minute block with my kids. And I consider it a failure if we watched 90 minutes of TV. That's a big distraction. It totally gets in the way of connectivity. We have so much more fun as a family if we do like game night for 90 minutes, or we go on a walk, or we go to the park, or we're doing these one-on-one times. And I've eliminated that digital distraction. I put the phone away, I put the video games away, I put the TV away, and we just hang out. And I've cherished those Tuesday nights because I've been able to train myself as a dad to put off distractions and just be eye contact, one-on-one, hang out with my kids. They're one of my favorite blocks of time of the week now. I wish I was better at getting rid of it at other times of the week. That's a challenge to me.
That's good. Yeah, it's not always easy, right? It's not always easy, but when we do, it's so powerful. Action step number 3 is to simplify. our pastor would always say, you're going to cheat at something, don't cheat at home. Like, you're going to either cheat your hobbies, you're going to cheat at work, sometimes working those extra times, you're going to cheat your phone, but don't cheat your wife and your kids. Like, give them not what's left of you, but the best of you.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Action step number 4 is establish rigid boundaries. We've done this in our home, just my wife and I. Our kids have learned from us establishing these boundaries. They know Thursday night is date night. The only thing getting in the way is a funeral. Like, we're not canceling date night for anything. And our kids have now come to know, oh, I wake up Thursday morning. Oh, we're going to play all day. And then at nighttime, oh, mom and dad are gone. And it doesn't mean we go out to fancy dinners every Thursday night or we go to the movies for long blocks of time. It could just be simply, we're going on the back porch. Don't open the door. We're going to talk and we're going to sit by the fire, or we're going to have tea or whatever. But you're not part of this now. This is a very rigid boundary for me. So if you want to be a good husband and a good dad, you have to have blocks of time where everybody recognizes you're getting all of me. You said, don't cheat your wife, don't cheat your spouse, give them the best of you. Well, that means I got a boundary around this time. I'm giving my wife the best 60 minutes I can right now. Kids, go do something else. I'm giving my kids the best 90 minutes I can. It's all you. Rigid boundaries, it kind of feels like it's staunchy and like pushing people away. No, it's safeguarding your family. It's safeguarding your time, and it allows you to do your duty as a husband or a dad really well.
That's good.
I think that's great. I love that boundary, or I love the idea that you guys did Thursday night date nights. But I remember a time when we couldn't afford date nights, and it was, when things are really tight. And when kids are first born, like my kids are teenagers now, my wife and I get a lot more time because they want to be with their friends and all that. But when they're little, when they first come into your home, I mean, it's just, you're trying to just keep them alive. Like have to, it's like, what are you doing? Don't put that in your mouth. Don't eat that. Don't, there's this constant kind of, what are they doing? What are they, and you're constantly on top of them. Yeah. And so we had a couple things. Number one, when I would come home from work, we instituted a couch time where we would take 15 minutes and just get caught up on our day. And our kids knew, even at the age of 2, that mom and dad are talking for 15 minutes. It wasn't that long, but that 15 minutes meant the universe. I mean, like we got caught up on everything. We were on the same page. And then we would put our kids to bed at the end of the night, like around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And from that time on, it was going to be mom and dad time to spend with each other. And there was a lot of times I'm like, I just need to get these kids down. But when the 15 minutes of couch time was over, it was, okay, now I'm spending time with the kids. I haven't seen them all day. Before bed, I would lay down with them to put them down and read to them and soak up that time and make it rich. And then when that time was over, move to
So it's predetermined rituals is what I'm hearing from both of you guys.
Yeah, and it's going to change, like you said, with seasons of life. It may be 15 minutes at one point of life. It may increase to 30 minutes at another point of life. Doesn't matter what the amount of time is. Decide with you and your wife what is best for your family, and then keep it rigid. That's the reason I said rigid, because if you make them too flexible, then it really just is too malleable over time and it doesn't become special anymore. Right. So set aside blocks of time, however long it is, and make that special.
I think it's you got to be committed. If you're not committed, you're just going to slide into whatever's the most convenient thing. Absolutely. But the most convenient thing typically is not the best thing.
Right. Absolutely. We talked about boundaries. We don't need to feel guilty about that. Like, that's good for our relationships with our wives and our kids. We just should be guilt-free on that, right? Yeah. You talked about dialogue daily and date weekly. Another one that I hope I can convince everybody to do as a married couple is depart annually. And again, it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be expensive. We would go sometimes to a hotel 20 minutes away and get the grandparents to come over. And all of a sudden, Hampton Inn was like the Ritz. You're just like, oh, it feels completely different world. Look, there's no kids. There's nobody nibbling at our feet. We can do adult things. It's just amazing. So depart annually, and that will change over time. When our kids were little, we just go to the beach and absolutely like rot into the sand. We were so tired. Now they go out, but it's just this time to connect. Novelty is always good for a marriage. So departing annually is a good thing. It can be difficult, but it's so important.
Yeah, I think the last thing we should really hammer home when you're trying to figure out how to do both your dad duties and your husband duty as well is to look for opportunities that already exist. I do this now where there is no such thing as a solo trip to the store anymore. If I got to go to Home Depot, get in the car, kids, we're going. If I'm going to the grocery store, come on, wife, we're going to the grocery store. And the reason I do that is because those minutes compound, they add up. So I did the math. If you have a round trip drive to the store, 15 minutes, which is probably the commute for most people. You do that twice a week. That adds up to 1,560 minutes a year. That's 26 hours. What could you accomplish with your son in the car with 26 more hours? You didn't have to find it. It's already there. You just had to bring him with you. What kind of dreams could you have with your wife if you had 26 hours of uninterrupted time driving back and forth to the store? It's right there. You just have to look for the opportunities to capitalize on that relationship with your family. It's not complicated. You just have to be intentional about it. Pounce on those things. They're right there.
Right. And so it's things we're already doing. Just have them tag along. We would do that with our kids. And here's a question and here's your song. It's just those things. We would take our kids sometimes looking at model homes or building homes, and I would go find a treasure. They come back, look at this 1/4 of a brick. That is amazing. So it's just these things of making that, you're already having to go to Home Depot, bring the kids with you.
All right, so that brings us to our pro move of the week. We like to give you one every single episode. And this week, it's just run through those action steps. Know your duties to your kids and your wife. Eliminate distractions. Set some boundaries. Find out where you can inject quality time into your relationships. I know for me, as we've been talking this through, it's become painfully aware that I do watch more TV than I should. So I'm going to double down on my efforts to eliminate that distraction and just be more present with my kids.
You're going to take some time away.
I'm gonna,
your relationship with television.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it in the trash.
take a little break. I think for me, I'm going to take my son on errands and have him drive. Like I think
that'd be cool.
He needs more driving time in the car and more opportunity to kind of practice that.
Nice.
Yeah. I think that for me, I'm always going to be a little convicted, or sometimes a lot, about being on my phone too much, because my wife and I both kind of give each other probably too much permission to be on our phone. So I think eliminating that distraction would probably be good.
Nice.
Probably be a really good thing. You guys, as always, thanks for hanging out with me.
Absolutely.
Hey, and if you are listening to this podcast, did you know that you can also watch it? Just go into YouTube, you can subscribe, and there you're going to see hundreds of hours of great content. So check that out. Most of all, we want to say thank you for joining us. We know that you and your kids will be glad that you did.
Thanks again for listening to the All Pro Dad podcast. Behind every episode is our amazing team. Producer, Haley Mawat, audio and video editor, Buck Buchanan, and production coordinator, Corey Walliff. All Pro Dad is the fatherhood program of the nonprofit Family First. Along with our motherhood program, iMom, we exist to help you love your family well. So remember, if you have more questions than answers, then you're probably in the right place. See you next time.